can feel it. Keep that, let the dough rise. It's a feeling. It's going down like a blowjob. I need a million. Feed the fam and the whole squad. No ceilings. I'ma kill them at your toes like a bow tie. Huh? I can feel it. Keep that, let the dough rise. It's a feeling. It's going down like a blowjob. I need a million. Feed the fam and the whole squad. No ceilings. I'ma kill them at your toes like a bow tie.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, if you're listening to the sound of my voice, then you're tuned in for another episode of Marking Out Amongst Friends. Once again, this is your boy Jay Rady. I'm in the building. Also in the building, my lovely co-host, Lady Great One. Say hi to the lovely people.
What's up, my peoples? How we all feeling tonight? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just saying I was going to be short, sweet, and to the point real quick, so you can go ahead with the rest of it. My bad.
All right, y'all. So tonight we got a few topics. Once again, we're in Money in the Bank. We're hitting on the home stretch here. We're about 2 weeks out from Money in the Bank and NXT Takeover Chicago. We got a few other topics to talk about tonight, including me and visiting SmackDown Live this week at the PNC Arena in Raleigh, as well as more on the deal with WWE and Fox. So that is actually what I want to start off with first tonight. The Fox deal, everybody's been talking about this for the last week. So if you've been under a rock, if you haven't heard, WWE has agreed to terms on a 5-year deal with Fox to not only move WWE SmackDown to Friday nights, but they will also continue to still be live. And correct me if I'm wrong, I am thinking this is 5 years, $1 billion on this deal. Toya, this a big deal or no?
This is not just a big deal. This is an incredible deal. I don't know of anything over the last, not any just regular TV show, since the Big Bang Theory that they've talked about. Such a great deal has happened for the cast and for the show itself. So even though I'm not a big fan of the Big Bang Theory, I am a big WWE fan. So yeah, this is like great for me.
Yeah, this is really a big deal. Of course, you know, this deal is not set to take place until October of 2019, so we got a little over a year. A lot of things can happen. We got another Mania that we're going to go through, pretty much all of the big four that we're going to go through before we get to this point. And the reason why I bring that up, we can see a lot of roster changes going on. So this deal that WWE has signed with Fox is actually going to be worth more than the deal that they currently have with USA. And a lot of people are speculating this could boost SmackDown Live quickly up to the A show, so to speak. So do you think that this is going to make SmackDown Live the #1 show, or do you think that people are jumping to conclusions on this one?
Well, for me, in my opinion, SmackDown will probably end up becoming the #1 show because of the fact that if they broadcast it properly and put it on the regular Fox channel, then it should really be more accessible to a lot of viewers. You get a lot more viewership when they're on a regular local network, in my opinion, than being on a cable network, because a lot of people nowadays are watching more streaming services. They're going more through like your YouTube TVs or your Slings or your et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I think having it on local television where you can watch it right then and there easily without having to subscribe to any of those certain channels would even be better for the brand itself.
I can definitely agree to that. And I was just having that conversation earlier with Mrs. Riddy. I know she's out there listening as well. But Fox definitely a much bigger network. Of course, USA's parent company, NBC, is definitely a huge network as well. But Fox definitely a bigger network, not just as a whole, but just the regular Fox station, like you said, broadcast is going to be able to reach a lot more people. You also are going to be. One of the other things we want to think about is there are also going to be a lot of other programming traffic that goes to Fox than USA. So WWE, in my opinion, is pretty much the staple of USA television. Outside of WWE, I can't think of any specific reason why I turned to USA. It's not really my channel of choice. At one point in time, I was watching Psyched just a little bit. They stopped that, but it is not... I can definitely say I'm not really tuning into anything like Chris knows best. So, I mean, from that standpoint, you move over to Fox. WWE joins the likes of shows like Empire, Animation Domination. So you got Bob's Burgers. You still got The Simpsons, who've been going on for, it seems like, 50 years. You still got Family Guy here and there. Also, one thing that I thought about earlier today as well is, do we think that this could potentially be something where the McMahons might be trying to make a political play here? We all know that Fox and Fox News is well known to be very outspoken to certain topics. Could we see maybe Linda McMahon make an appearance on a couple of Fox News shows after this deal goes through?
Don't know, and I'm not getting to a politics discussion. I'm just going to go ahead and let you know that right there.
Well, it's not going to be a full-on politics discussion. I don't care who everybody's affiliated with. You can be the left or right, whatever. But I was just thinking that this could be a political play. As we all know, Linda McMahon has been trying to get into politics for years and has not been able to get elected. Maybe this is a way for Vince to try to help Linda get her face and name out there a little bit more amongst those who frequent Fox News. That's just my opinion. I think that that's a slick move that he could probably pull on down the line, especially given if WWE does garner a lot of success. As far as cons of this move, though, I don't know about moving WWE SmackDown back to Friday nights. I've never been an avid lover of having any wrestling show on television on Friday nights, just because, in my opinion, I feel like Friday is the night where a lot of people try to go out. It's the end of the work week. You might go out, hang out at the bar, do something fun with the family. I don't see Friday night as the night where, people get together and watch wrestling much anymore. That's really my major con with that. Otherwise, I don't know. Also, with broadcast television, not to say that the PG network that they've been over the past decade or so hasn't been pretty safe, but we all know Roman Reigns has let a couple fly here and there. The Rock has come back and let a couple fly here and there. I don't know if you'll still be able to do that with Fox. I mean, that it's a broadcast network and they don't really have the same censorship freedom as cable network or cable television does have.
Well, I mean, it really depends. Because, number one, we don't know whether or not it's going to be on the actual broadcast Fox channel or if it's going to be on FS1. So that's still in the air as well. Because FS1 is nothing but sports 24/7. So, therefore, we don't know. Second of all, with the whole FX and FXX, yeah. They've got a ton of different channels and stuff too, but I was just mainly talking about FS1 because I doubt it will go to FX or FXX or one of those, to be honest. But you made me completely forget where I was going with this. Oh yeah, the censorship role. It really, it's been becoming a lot more acceptable because of certain TV shows that they do have on the actual Fox network, like your Empire. Personally, I know a ton of people who watch the show. I've never seen an episode of Empire. I know I've missed out, but that's one of those shows you can't jump right into on the middle. Unlike with wrestling, you can jump right into it. You might question who's this, but it's like, oh, okay, well, I want to see more of this guy, that guy, and third. Anyway, I know I'm starting to ramble a little bit, but long story short, we'll just have to wait for October of next year to see if they're going to keep it on Friday nights. I don't know about the Friday night move myself. It's kind of up in the air, but we'll just see how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, Friday nights could be big for them, but as far as, I like Tuesday night for some reason. Just being able to get Raw and SmackDown first, you get both of them back to back at the top of the week. Of course, we get to view them, in all up in leadership to the end of the week. Shameless plug, marking out with friends. We get to have SmackDown before we do our Thursday night show. So I might be a little biased in that instance as well, because we would have to wait almost a week for SmackDown to cover, our coverage every week on that. So I really don't like that as well. So we're going to put that one on the cons list as well. It was also reported, which has since then been dispelled and disproven, that NXT or 205 might be in that deal as well. As stated before, that has been disproven. But had that been something that's true, do you think that NXT is ready for network television? Lady
yeah. Sorry. I was experiencing a little technical difficulty on my hand. I eated with fat fingers and get the mute button turned off. But insert joke there. Anyway, with NXT, actually was the one that was more or less the talks about going on regular television. I think that they're absolutely ready. The quality of NXT has been way better for a long time over, actually the quality of both Raw and SmackDown, because they don't stick with the same tried and true formula Raw has. And the stories are better. The action is more complete. You don't have the commercials, and you have a shorter time period to get a major story across. So that's also hurt Raw at some point in time, because it's like you got a lot of time to fill, a lot of jobs, a lot of extras that can be cut to that. So I don't know. Once again, it just depends.
Yeah, I mean, it's all going to be up in the air. Like I said, I mean, at the end of the day, it's about revenue. It's a huge deal. But, I mean, other than the 5-year deal, I guarantee you a lot of that is going to entail how much success WWE can bring in on network television for Fox. I don't doubt WWE. WWE has done numbers over the years. However, we all know that their numbers right now are nothing compared to in the last few years, where their ratings have been super high. Attendance has been super high at live shows. We don't get that same type of success that WWE currently has right now. Or currently we don't get that style of success that they're used to. So it makes me wonder, is the Fox deal going to be able to change that in a positive way? Moving right along, I don't know if anybody is familiar with last week. I told you guys that I would be going to SmackDown Live this week. So I did make a trip to SmackDown Live. Got a chance to go with my nephew. It was his first show. We got to meet the Usos, which the Usos are definitely probably the coolest WWE superstars that I've met in years, and I've met a lot of superstars. So Jimmy and Jay out there, once again, thank you guys so much for the experience that I had when I met you guys. Great guys. But SmackDown Live, the attendance wasn't there that I thought there would be. It was definitely a lot of noise. They made a lot of noise, a lot of crowd support there, which shocked me for the fact that the crowd wasn't that big, but they were loud. It was very entertaining. I don't think that I've ever been to an actual SmackDown. I tend to go to a lot of Raw shows over the years. Have you been to a SmackDown show before, Lady Green? I know we've been to a few shows together before.
Actually, yes. The very first brand split that they did a few years ago, I was sitting right behind the commentary table of JR and Michael Cole, and I believe it was JBL also at the time when I went solo by myself. And they were all wearing their red and blue shirts. Like, okay, well, we're going to be representing Raw, and we're going to be representing SmackDown, and it was a cool show. So yeah, I did go to that one live, and I'll tell you one thing: like, you can watch it on TV, and you think that it's like kind of quiet at times. No, it is not quiet in the actual arena. They have to actually cut down the amount of fan interaction at a live show to broadcast it on television, because us fans, we're loud, we're rowdy, and we like to curse, and we like to drink, and we get into it, and the atmosphere is a lot more better. Wow, I just said that. A whole lot better than it is just watching it on television. But this week I had to watch it from the comforts of my house while trying to recuperate and recover. So it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely fun. You know, a lot of participation. I never actually have gotten to see Daniel Bryan live and come out, so that was also something that was great. My nephew really loves Daniel Bryan. That was like the loudest that he had got throughout the whole night. Like you said, there's a lot of fan interaction. You bump into a lot of people. You know, it's a lot of jokes, a lot of everything going on there. So the fan experience is definitely great. If nobody's been to a live show, I would definitely recommend going. Because the only thing that stuck out to me was just the attendance portion. But other than that, everything was really, really fun. Got to check 205 Live out briefly. The match with Buddy Murphy and Cedric Alexander. Oh my God. I don't know if anybody has watched 205 Live this week. I know a lot of people don't really pay attention to it. It's very short. It was only 2 matches this week. But if you get a chance, make sure that you guys go online and watch that. I think that we shared a portion of that match on the Marking Out Amongst Friends Facebook page. By the way, Marking Out Amongst Friends, go ahead and like us. Subscribe to the page. Subscribe to the YouTube page. All of that. But 205 Live, it wasn't a lot of fan interaction throughout that match, and it disappointed me from a live standpoint, and maybe because, you know, SmackDown was first, so everybody had sat through SmackDown. A lot of people had already started leaving, so maybe that could play a role into it. But it just really offended me because we got almost like a 5-star match on 205 Live, and it wasn't a whole lot of crowd participation. And it makes me wonder, what can they do to start getting people more interested in 205 Live?
Well, when you're having such a high quality match of a triple threat, Big Cass versus Samoa Joe versus Daniel Bryan, and that in SmackDown, all the hype is gone. It's like, okay, we just got hyped up for this great SmackDown main event, and then like 205 Live comes on. Okay, well, I done seen everybody really. I mean, yeah, there's more stuff, there's more action coming on, but still, it's just like that drag. The way to fix that, in my opinion, I think it would be more impactful if 205 Live came on first and then started SmackDown after the fact. So then that way more people are just filing in, and more people would get more used to the people instead of doing dark matches and stuff. If they did the dark matches like after the show goes off at 10, then it'd be more interaction, or push the time back. Started at 8 for 205 Live, SmackDown from 9 to 10 or 9 to 11. Do it in that format. I think it's the format that's really messing with people. Why 205 Live can't get a continuous live fan base.
And yeah, I mean, I think that maybe that could definitely boost viewership if they were to put it on before SmackDown. But also another thing that kind of shot me, and this is a dark match. You guys didn't get to see this on SmackDown, but Carmella defended the SmackDown Live Women's title in a dark match after 205 Live was over, and Charlotte's entrance alone garnered more fan participation than they gave the whole match for Cedric Alexander and Buddy Murphy. And that kind of, once again, it's offensive because Cedric Alexander is from North Carolina as well. I understand, we like to participate and woo and everything, but, we got to show a lot of these guys that we get on the blogs and talk about that they should be pushing. At the same time, you got to show those guys love so they can get pushed, so to speak. But anyway, I don't want to spend a lot of time on 205 Live. 205 Live had their championship match last night. We don't expect to see any matches from 205 on the upcoming pay-per-view. But that'll bring us right into Money in the Bank. I was just mentioning SmackDown Live. We finally got to have our triple threat, as you stated, with Daniel Bryan, Big Cass, and Samoa Joe. Very decent match. Samoa Joe comes away with the victory. With Samoa Joe now qualifying, Lady Great One, we now have all of the competitors, only The Miz and Finn Balor have been a world champion on the main roster in this.
Nope, you missed Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens is in it, and yes, he was champion. Don't forget him.
Kevin Owens, absolutely. Kevin Owens is actually in the Money in the Bank, so that is definitely my fault on that one. So, of the 8 participants, we have 3 former world champions. And like I said before, I don't really want to count Finn Balor's reign because Finn Balor had the title for one day. Kevin Owens, his run with the Universal title ended because of Oldberg, and I think that kind of made me forget him being a world champion at that point in time. I think the only question that we have left now that hasn't been answered is who the New Day is going to plug into this Money in the Bank match. And we had a discussion last week on this as well. Are you still stuck on your decision thinking that I believe you said that Big E is going to be who they're going to pick, correct?
In order to have a match of this caliber, you have to think out of the things. Do you go with strength? Do you go with speed? Or do you go with skill? And when I say speed, I was actually going with Xavier when I refer to the speed and skill. Obviously, the veteran Kofi, and then of course the muscle with Big E. In this match, there's a lot of heavy hitters. There's a lot of big guys in there. So if one of the New Day were to go, that's what they're going to have to think about. You've only got Finn Balor and Miz and Bobby Roode are the 3 smallest competitors. And Bobby Roode's not even small in comparison to the other 2 guys. However, he is small in comparison to Braun Strowman, Kevin Owens, and Samoa Joe. So it's really going to be a strategy on who they're going to pick. I'm thinking it's going to be Big E. So I'm going to continue to stick with Big E because you need at least a combination of the 3, and I think Big E does demonstrate the best of the 3 in all of those accolades.
Well, I definitely can agree with a lot of what you stated on why they should go with Big E. I think that originally I stated that I expected to see Kofi because this is a Kofi-style match. And Kofi I believe Kofi does have Money in the Bank experience. But after watching this week and after watching the New Day for a few months, I really think that they've been trying to spotlight Xavier Woods a lot in the last couple of months. You remember in the early days of the New Day, that Xavier Woods was always the guy on the outside of the ring, and the tag team that you always saw was Kofi and Big E. Now you're seeing a lot more singles matches with Xavier Woods. He's picked up wins over guys like Cesaro or Sheamus. He's picked up a win over one of the members of the Bar. I can't remember right now, but he's picked up a singles win. He's showing a lot more of the transitions, a lot more of the kicks, and a lot more of the strikes that you guys, like to see out of a lot of the superstars. And I wouldn't be surprised if they plugged Xavier Woods in this match. I always thought Xavier Woods was the best on the mic out of everyone. He can definitely wrestle, as we saw, when he first debuted in WWE, as well as his run in TNA as well. Very athletic. Like you said, a lot of speed behind that, and he's got a lot of innovative offense as well. I could definitely see Xavier Woods getting that spot, and I actually would, if I wanted to see one of the three, I would probably go with Big E, but if not Big E, I'm going to go ahead and put my stamp on it and say Xavier Woods is going to get the spot.
Now, even if Big E is the one who takes the spot, it doesn't necessarily mean that the rest of the New Day, since this is a no DQ match, doesn't help somebody in some way, shape, or form, as well as another group that I was thinking about that could actually hijack the show, destroy the system. And I'm not talking about shocking the system with the Undisputed Era. I'm talking about Sanity. Tell me, would you love to see all of a sudden everybody laid out by Sanity and everybody else in the field, and all of a sudden Eric Young climb up there and we get a possible Eric Young versus AJ Styles in WWE?
I would be excited. I like Eric Young. I've never thought that TNA or WWE were really 100% behind Eric Young. I think that Eric Young in his championship runs, especially towards his last few months, his last year or so there in TNA, that I think he was getting title shots because a lot of the major guys had left. With Sanity right now in NXT, even with Eric Young leading that stable, I think that the guy that always catches everybody's eye out of Sanity is always going to be Killian Dane. I don't know if they would really go with that. I would be happy with it, exactly the way that you played it out. I would even like to see as much of a gimmick that it would be. I would like to see Eric Young more than likely go against Daniel Bryan at one point. But I don't know if they would pull that trigger. I think that, as a matter of fact, I think they would probably pull the trigger on El Idolo before they pulled the trigger on Eric Young.
Well, regardless of who they pulled the trigger on, I just thought it was a unique idea to have, because nobody has actually disrupted a Money in the Bank match. That's what my thought is nobody's like hijacked that match, or the people who are in it are just the people who are in it, and there's no big like shocks and wow factors. That's where I was going with this, is more the shock and awe of having Sanity possibly just come out of nowhere. They have nothing for them to do at the moment. Why not just go ahead and immediately throw them into this and then start a feud with Sanity versus whomever like got tossed off the ladder and lost, like Sanity and Miz, or Sanity and somebody from SmackDown,
Right. So, I definitely can agree. I don't think that we saw a disruption in the men's Money in the Bank match. Of course, we know the scandal from the first annual women's Money in the Bank match last year with James Ellsworth and Carmella. But like you said, I don't think that we've had anybody interrupt the Money in the Bank. So that would be an interesting angle for them to go. So as far as Money in the Bank's build, we got two confirmed for Well, we got one confirmed. We got one final spot from the New Day that we've yet to confirm. We know it's going to the New Day. We just don't know who it is. Raw also finalized the last spot in the Money in the Bank for the women's match this week by gauntlet match. And the last woman to qualify, your favorite woman wrestler, Sasha Banks. So Sasha, I kind of feel bad for her because Sasha has taken part in almost every first match that they've had for the Women's Revolution since she's come to the main roster. And every match that she's been a part of, she's come up short. So are you buying and selling the quote-unquote shot in the dark that Sasha Banks may win the Women's Money in the Bank?
No. Please no. Please no. Only if she turns heel. Because she would be a great heel Money in the Bank winner. I will say that. Mm-hmm. She would be awesome as that stalker sort of thing to come out and just, I couldn't even find a word for it, but yeah, she would actually be good in Money in the Bank, and she's going to actually be one of the people that can probably hold that spot very, very well. But however, still, in my opinion, I'm going to have to go with the overlooked woman in this one. I'm going to have to still go with Becky because she needs this more than anybody else.
Yeah, I could definitely agree with that one as well. If I was going to say any of the 4 horsewomen that have been overshadowed in the past, few years, if it's not Sasha Banks, definitely Becky Lynch is definitely number 1 in that aspect by far. If I'm going to pick who I would think to win this one, and we'll go back, we'll get back to this match in the recap that we do before the week before Money in the Bank. But if I'm going to bank on anybody in this match right now, I am going to go. I'm going to go with Naomi for this one. Well, actually, no. I'm going to take that back. Out of this one, I'm going to go with Ember Moon. The only reason why I'm going with Ember Moon in this one is they haven't really gone into depth with Ember, but Ember has been on a hot streak since she's came to the main roster. Also, Ember Moon is the only women's wrestler in this match, with the exception of Lana, to not have held a world championship on the main roster. So I don't know if they are willing to go to the well with Charlotte, being that Charlotte wins a lot of their matches, a lot of the gimmicky matches. Alexa Bliss just came off of a very long run. And with Raw looking the way it is with Nia Jax and Ronda Rousey right now, I don't know if they're ready to throw Alexa Bliss back into that mix yet. Becky Lynch is definitely one that could surprise everybody. She needs it more than everybody else, like you said. Natalya is like the Dolph Ziggler of the women's division. She's good, but she's never the first person that the majority of fans pick or get behind in these type of matches. Naomi just won the Women's Battle Royal, and I don't see her winning 2 big major women's matches back to back. Sasha Banks, once again, she's never won any of the big women's Revolution matches, so she's definitely could make a play. I think those would probably be the top 3 that I would expect, either Ember Moon, Sasha Banks, or Becky Lynch, but I'm going to go with Ember Moon on that one. Other than the women's match, we've seen some other matches get added. So we talked about Money in the Bank last week. I had went over there. We hadn't had any of the mid-card titles added to the roster. Now we have a mid-card match added to the roster with Seth Rollins versus Elias, which is going to be a huge match in my opinion. I I don't think we've seen a major one-on-one match from Elias on a pay-per-view in quite some time, if ever, as far as just a one-on-one match. And for it to be going against Seth Rollins, do you think this has potential to be the match of the night?
Well, considering how much of a role that Seth has been on and damn near every match that he's done ever since that gauntlet where he lasted for, what was it, 65 minutes, 62 minutes that he did that gauntlet for? When he became Monday Night Rollins, he's been like fire. I mean, he's been burning it down everywhere he went. There was a possible arsonist being called upon by Barbecue Becky when this man enters the building. Sorry, I had to bring that one up. But yeah, this match right here has a good 4.5 5-star match written all over it to me. So I'm just ready to see how great Elias will do against Seth because of contrasting styles. The look is kind of similar, except Elias is a freak of nature for his size and height. So we'll just see.
Yeah, I think Elias is definitely one of the guys that are the future of the company. I don't know if they're ready to put a title on him yet. It would be huge. The rub that he would get right now with the role that Seth Rollins is on, if he was to go into Money in the Bank and win the Intercontinental Championship, the rub that he would get would be huge, and it would definitely do a lot to put him more over than he already is. But definitely, I think that definitely has match of the night potential. If not that match, of course, either of the Money in the Bank matches could be match of the night, or the Last Man Standing match that was announced with AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura could probably be the only competition there. One other match was added to the roster, which I do not think is going to be any type of competition for match of the night. And quite frankly, I don't really like the feud like that as well. But Bobby Lashley versus Sami Zayn has been added to the pay-per-view. So with Seth Rollins, exactly. That is the exact reaction that is going to get. Hopefully that match opens up the show, and then we move on to Seth Rollins versus Elias to wake everybody up after that one. I'm not buying this feud. I don't buy Sami Zayn as a legitimate competitor for Bobby Lashley, and I'm not a big Bobby Lashley fan, but I don't buy WWE as much as they have, for lack of any other word, buried Sami Zayn since he's arrived to the main roster. I do not see them giving him a major singles victory over a newly returning Bobby Lashley, who this is his debut singles match on a pay-per-view since returning. I don't see it happening. I don't see it happen at all. Other than not wanting to see the match itself. I don't even know why we are even going through with this feud. What is this doing for either one of these guys right now?
Not a thing besides filling up space on Raw, in which they could be giving that to AOP, for lack of a better person to think about. I mean, it's just waste of time. Yeah, I know you want to bring Bobby Lashley back. You want to bring him back in a great fashion. But the absolute just idea of Sami Zayn talking to Bobby Lashley's quote-unquote sisters was trash.
Oh my God, that was
so horrible.
Cringe-worthy segment. Ugh. Very cringy.
I mean, cringy isn't even a word to describe it. It was just a debacle. It was just straight hot garbage. I mean, I've seen something that looked better on the bottom of my shoe, and I work in a restaurant. That's just that. It's that bad.
I would rather, and you know me, I would rather see Bobby Lashley versus Baron Corbin in this match, than to see Bobby Lashley go one-on-one with Sami Zayn. I
I
would
mean,
rather see that match.
that makes two of us. Absolutely two of us. I would much rather have given this spot to let No Way Jose and Baron Corbin actually finish out their feud at a pay-per-view for, I mean, versus this. I'm sorry. I'm not invested in this at all. Poor decision.
Very poor. With those two matches being added, that brings the card up to 9 matches for Money in the Bank so far. I think that they're going to end up evening this one out. We'll probably see one more match added on before we get to the week of Money in the Bank. Right now, as it stands, outside of the major Money in the Bank matches, SmackDown really only has 3 matches going on so far: the tag team title match, the women's title match, and the WWE Championship going on. Whereas Raw has the Intercontinental match now, Sami Zayn versus Bobby Lashley now, Jinder Mahal versus Roman Reigns, and Nia Jax versus Ronda Rousey. So what is the odds of this last pick from SmackDown, or this last match from SmackDown in there? Is there a feud that they could possibly throw in there that isn't currently going on? And I think we'll probably, in my opinion, it's going to be a repeat match from this last pay-per-view. But who do you think they're going to be able to add into this roster? What match do you think they're going to add in on SmackDown on this?
Jeff Hardy versus Andrade Cien Almas for the United States Championship.
That would be amazing, and that would be a huge first pay-per-view match on the main roster for El Idolo. I just like saying that, El Idolo. It just rolls off the tongue.
Just like Cien Almas.
I want that match to happen. That would probably be my number one vote. But the match that I think is going to end up happening is going to be a repeat from last pay-per-view. I think we're going to end up getting Big Cass versus Daniel Bryan one more time. I don't think that they're done with that feud. And with Samoa Joe coming away in the victory from the triple threat last night, that leaves both of those guys without a match in the upcoming pay-per-view. Daniel Bryan is not going to go this pay-per-view without a match. Not Money in the Bank.
I can definitely agree there, because as much as I want to see Jeff Hardy and Cien Almas right now, I don't think that that's the way they're going to go. That's going to be something that they can just build to, because he hasn't had a feud yet, and for him to jump right into the United States Championship is kind of like a rub towards other people who have been vying for it, with possibly like Shelton Benjamin, even though he hasn't been on TV in the last couple of weeks. So
dark match last night. That was one I missed. I missed that one. That was a dark match last night. So Jeff Hardy did defend the title against Shelton Benjamin and was victorious in a dark match on SmackDown.
Okay, good to know, sir. But then also with the Big Cass and Daniel Bryan thing, I think this is just going to be like, anywhere you go, whatever you do, I don't even have to have Money in the Bank. I'm just going to keep on stalking you. That's what Big Cass's angle is currently. Just to keep Miz and Daniel Bryan away from each other, going with Big Cass. That's the direction that they're going, because he had nothing to do, and moving into SmackDown Live and give him that heat, since he's been nothing since Enzo. So give him that heat. Let him run with it.
Yeah,
I don't want to see him with the title.
Yeah, I definitely think that they should. I'm actually enjoying the feud just because Big Cass is being very aggressive, which I think that, you know, that's something that is needed from somebody who's supposed to be a top heel, is the aggression. As much as I loved Jinder Mahal on SmackDown, that was one thing that he did lack because of the cowardice that they put behind his character. He didn't have the aggression. Big Cass has been taking it to Daniel Bryan every week. And I think if we get this match again, we may not get a regular singles match. I think that we get some type of specialty match Maybe something involved either no DQ or something that will help Big Cass be able to pull maybe a cheap heel move to win this match, which will extend this feud on to the next pay-per-view. I think Big Cass has really a lot of potential to be a heavyweight champion, honestly. But if they don't go the route that we just discussed with Andrade Cien Almas versus Jeff Hardy, if the feud ends early with Daniel Bryan, we could see Big Cass go for a mid-card title and probably kick Jeff Hardy's head off once or twice. It's a lot of ways that can go. It really is. I would rather, but like you said, I would rather see Andrade Cien Almas and Jeff go at it. But I think that match is going to end up being Daniel Bryan versus Big Cass, and that'll be our 10th match for Money in the Bank there. But I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how that goes. Moving right along, one of the other pay-per-views is coming up, or the other pay-per-view that's coming up that we haven't really talked about in the subsequent weeks. NXT Takeover Chicago 2018 is coming up. We've got a few different feuds that are building for that pay-per-view. Right now we have 4 confirmed matches. So right now we are it's confirmed that it's going to end up, we're probably going to get Johnny Gargano versus Tommaso Ciampa in a street fight again. Coming up, the NXT title is going to be up for grabs. Lars Sullivan versus the champion Aleister Black. Tag team match right now on the card, Undisputed Era, specifically Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong versus Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch. And then my personal favorite match that's been announced so far, Ricochet versus the Velveteen Dream. So with the 4 matches that we have confirmed right now, which one are you more excited for?
Oh, it's going to be the Dream and Ricochet. That is the match. This build is great. I mean, yeah, it is anything you can do, I can do better sort of thing, because that's exactly what the Dream said. Anything you can do, the Dream can do better. So I'm really looking forward to it. They worked great as a tandem against Lars Sullivan, and I just love seeing them together in the ring. And I think that they both have great chemistry against each other. There's no clear heel or face in this one because the lines are very blurry. I think Velveteen is more of the heel sort of thing. He's a tweener, so that's a good thing. He can play both roles very well, and I just love to see his beautiful face, as Dream lovingly referred to Ricochet as. So that's the match that I'm going with. That's going to be so dope.
Yeah, that's definitely going to end up being my favorite match, and the one that I'm looking forward to most of all. I love Aleister Black. I don't want to take anything away from him. I loved his run all the way up to the NXT title and to winning it. But, Lars Sullivan, I don't know how great of a match. They've been doing well with that build, but I don't know how great of a match it's going to be. It's definitely all eyes on Velveteen Dream. So, speaking of Velveteen, one of the big things that we've heard in wrestling news over the past, I would say, day or so, is Velveteen is getting a huge endorsement by the man who's pretty much been the face of the franchise for the better part of a decade, John Cena. So, just to quote Cena in his exact words, John Cena had strong praise for Velveteen Dream. Someone asked John Cena specifically if he would prefer facing Velveteen Dream, Ricochet, or Adam Cole, baby. And Cena noted that he's got a great feeling about the Dream. His direct answer was, my answer is going to upset people, but I would rather face Velveteen Dream, Cena says. He said, those Star Wars movies with the Jedi? And he says something like, I think that is the one. I got that odd mental and great feeling about the Velveteen Dream. How much do we agree with John Cena's statement in this instance? Is this guy going to be a future face of the franchise?
I mean, I don't know. That's wow. That's a lot to take in. I think that since he is such a unique character, he is such a great mesh of ravishing Rick Rude and Shawn Michaels and The Rock, all kind of rolled into one extremely crazy, outlandish gold dust package that is the Velveteen Dream. So that's big words. Big words from John Cena saying that he's the one. That's, dude, you just got your ticket punched, and not in a bad way.
Yes, I definitely see it too. I can definitely see, for all those who don't know who the Velveteen Dream is, the Velveteen Dream, real name Patrick Clark, former competitor on Tough Enough, very much into the culture. He was the indie wrestler, tag team up with Leo Rush before coming into the WWE. So we've seen his face a few times. I never saw the star potential in Patrick Clark until this character. And the way that he portrays this character as the Velveteen Dream is probably, as far as the entire WWE, I think that he has the best character. And that is a huge statement to make. But I don't see anybody that plays their character better than Velveteen. And that's pretty major when you think of guys, like Finn Balor. Of course, he does the Demon gimmick. When you think of guys like Bray Wyatt, when you think of even Broken Matt, guys who are very committed to their characters, I think that none of them are as committed to their character as Velveteen right now. And it says a lot for somebody who is only 24 years old.
I mean, it's almost natural. Like, when I look at him, he just does it so well that it's just natural. And that's the thing that's not... You saw her Husky Harris then turn into Bray Wyatt. And it doesn't feel forced. It feels natural. Matt Hardy, it didn't really feel as natural, but it was still cool. Finn Balor, it only feels natural when he's the Demon, and then otherwise it's just like, okay, this little scrawny guy that high flies and everything. So it really doesn't feel as natural. And that's just my opinion. No offense to Finn Balor, don't get me wrong. But looking at Velveteen Dream, I think that Patrick Clark was unnatural. I think that this was really him bottled up inside somewhere that just had to come out, and it is working so well. So well. He sells it so well. Everything he does, it makes it look like this is what he was meant to be. And we just eat it up like ice cream cones.
Absolutely. And like you said, it just looks natural. I was definitely against the gimmick when I first saw the debut. I'm like, this is not going to work. He's going to go back to the Performance Center. We're not going to see anything from this guy in a couple of years. He's still young. He's got time to develop. But like you said, he just took to this character. And I think that it's general consensus that everybody who had that same thought process that I did, saying that this character isn't going to work, he's pretty much changed everybody's mind. And in the wrestling world, it's hard to change somebody's mind. Right? Once they said something about someone, it's pretty much set in stone. There's nothing that you can do to change it. Velveteen changed a lot of people's minds. And I know I'm giving a lot of praise to Velveteen right now, Ricochet is definitely no slouch either. Ricochet was probably the best, if not the best, top 3 talent on the indie circuit before signing with the WWE. He's going to be an amazing guy no matter where they put him. If they put him on 205 Live, if he goes to Raw or SmackDown, I think that he's going to be amazing. He's going to be a huge face, especially in a generation that needs a face. Ricochet is going to be huge. But Velveteen is definitely a great character, and I had to shed some light on John Cena's high praise for Velveteen Dream.
I noticed when you, I'm sorry, don't mean to cut you off there, but I noticed while you were saying that there was one name who said that they would love to fight John Cena that didn't get mentioned in that question, and that is NX3's EC3.
Ethan Carter III.
He said that he wanted to fight Cena.
And Cena did actually mention EC3 in that article as well, that in which he praised Velveteen Dream. So I think Cena is definitely invested and is definitely willing to go one-on-one with EC3. Do you think that they will pull the trigger on that?
Yes. I think so, because like if you're going to give somebody like just the pure look of EC3 alone, he's a mythical deity, as he calls himself. I mean, like Cena is a really huge guy. This guy is pushing 300 pounds and nothing but muscle. I think he has like maybe 1% body fat, because he's the top 1%. So I don't even think Cena is as shredded as him. So just to see them two, and as well as EC3 moves about the ring as well, it would definitely be a great match. And I think that they would be missing out if, for one of Cena's now part-time appearances isn't against EC3, that they would be missing out on a great opportunity there.
So I've stated a lot of my, I won't say distaste, but I've stated a lot of my unimpressedness, for lack of a better word. I know that's not a word. I made it up, and it's a word now. But I've stated a lot of my unimpressedness with EC3. Don't get me wrong. The character is definitely well evolved from the Derek Bateman character. While we're on the subject of unnatural characters that we're mentioning, I think that outside of my distaste for him, the positive that I see in EC3 is EC3 looks like he's just kind of hanging out in NXT until they debut him on the main roster. Like, he almost, even though he's NX3, it almost looks like, all right, you guys don't even need to have this guy down here. He needs to be in the main roster already. And also another positive that I would say outside of my distaste for him is not just because he has a similar look to Cena, but he has something about him that screams like main eventer, so to speak. Like, this is not a mid-card guy. There's a lot of guys that come in that could be tweeners. There are a lot of guys that come in that are just mid-carders. One thing about EC3 looks like was handmade for main eventing. And I think that even though I wasn't the biggest fan, he definitely showed that in TNA. And I definitely think that they're going to pull the trigger on that match with John Cena. And I wouldn't be surprised if they let EC3 go over John Cena.
I mean, you got to go with youth and beauty, man. Youth and beauty. I'm not saying anything about their actual physical, like, looks, like, beauty-wise and everything, but I'm just saying, you got to get somebody to get over and to get that top spot. So why not start with basically what's been the top for the better part of the decade, if not the entire decade, you know?
Absolutely. I mean, you know what they always told you growing up, you know, anywhere you go, if it's your first day of school or unfortunately for those who go to prison, you go to prison. The first thing that you do, you find the biggest guy in the room and you knock him out. And right now, I don't care where you are in WWE. I don't care where John Cena is in the WWE. John Cena is the biggest guy in the room. And if you're going to knock anybody out, you're going to go after John Cena. I mean, look how it played out for Kevin Owens when he did it. So yeah, I can definitely see it happening. Moving right along, though, I've spent a lot of time on Velveteen and Ricochet. I have a lot of love for both of those guys. Let's talk about the build for Ciampa versus Gargano, which it seems like this feud could go on forever, and I would not care one bit if this feud went on forever. This has reminiscence of Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn written all over it, but better, so to speak. And it's a lot of the same background. A lot of those, I mean, both of them came up in the Indies together, just like Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn did. I think one was the best man in the other's wedding, similar to KO and Sami Zayn again. They were former tag team turned bitter enemies, just like Sami Zayn and KO. So there's a lot of similarities to it. And I think that dimension to it always makes it that much better because of the emotions that get involved in the feud. How are you enjoying this back and forth with Ciampa and Gargano?
Well, the one thing that gives Ciampa and Gargano the leg up on Zayn and Owens is, well, actually, there's two things. Number one is Candice LeRae, because one of them has a wrestling wife who can come out and be involved in the story as well and take bumps and stuff like that. That always adds an extra element to it. It gives the story a little bit more oomph, a little bit more passion that Sammy and Kevin didn't have. And secondly, nobody, I repeat, nobody has heat like Tommaso Ciampa has had. I mean, this is X-Pac heat. This is actually like doubled X-Pac heat for Tommaso Ciampa. And when you got X-Pac heat multiplied, they want to kill him. They literally wanted to kill this man. I'm surprised that security was able to keep the people at bay of how badly that they hated Tommaso Ciampa. And nobody ever really truly hated Sammy or Kevin that much when it came to the two of them. Absolutely. So that's the biggest thing right there. That heat was not there as much.
I definitely agree with that. And, I had that exact same conversation with one of our recent guests, Mr. VIP, and that was the exact same notion that he had when we had this talk as well. Tommaso Ciampa has probably got the biggest heat that I've seen in WWE in quite some time. And it's funny because, like you said, that there's a lot of guys who come in that are heels, but everybody pretty much generally loves them. This guy has found a way to draw heat against a fan base that loves him, and he has not looked back since. All in all, I'm expecting Gargano to come out a victor in this, just because it seems like the last two times that we've seen a major takeover with these two, and Gargano has always come out on top. So I am thinking that, given an early prediction, I know we're not doing our prediction show yet, I'm definitely going to pick Ciampa coming away with that one. There is no stipulation on this one as it was for the previous one, I don't think. And I could be wrong, but I don't think that there's a stipulation on this one as it was with the previous title match. I mean, not title match, the previous street fight. I don't think that Gargano is putting his contract on the line or anything. But still, the love for the feud is there. The interest is sky high, and I don't care how many times I've seen this match before. I definitely can't wait to watch this match again. Moving right along.
It is a Chicago street fight. And the last one was an unsanctioned match. So that's the difference between the stipulations. So this time it will be weapons involved.
I mean, an unsanctioned match, a street fight, extreme rules, no disqualification. They all fit in the same mold, so to speak. They have their differences, like you said, but to me, they all fit into the same mold.
Same, different name. Gotcha.
Pretty much. Moving right along, the next match on the card,
sir.
Excuse me?
Oh, I said, let's go ahead and move it right along, sir.
The next match on the card that I want to talk about, the Undisputed Era versus Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch. Now, as far as tag teams go that are in NXT, we've always had great tag teams to come out of there. The Ascension were great. Authors of Pain were great. American Alpha was great. The Revival was great. So as far as the Undisputed Era, they are great in their own right, but their opponents for this match are not ones that people usually will clamor over. And these are really solid guys. Like Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch are very solid, very hard hitting, very stiff, guys, so to speak. And they are not any slouch. So as far as this feud goes, especially when you team them up with a guy like Pete Dunne in this feud, these guys are as tough as they come, so to speak. And I know the Undisputed Era is a very huge team in NXT right now, but I can't just say that I can't be so sure that the Undisputed Era are just going to have a cakewalk through this match. I can't guarantee that they're going to come away as NXT champions against these guys or tag team champions against these guys. This is a very tough tag team. Have you got a chance to see a lot of these matches that they've been having over the last few weeks?
Yes, actually, I have. I have been catching up on my NXT as of late. That's something I get to do by myself while the boys are away at work and school. So I try to catch up on that because a lot of people don't have that interest here in my house. So, Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch remind me of Cesaro. Look, strength, power, everything screams 2 Cesaros. Now we got 3 Cesaros. It's just that 2 of them together are a tag team. And they're great. They're absolutely great. They don't have a unique look. They're just bald-headed blokes from England. I believe they're from England. Or they're somewhere involved in the UK. I'm not sure where, so don't quote me on that. However, like the Undisputed Era, the problem with that is it's not Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish. It's Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong. So with Bobby Fish being out, it's not quite the same tag team as you would normally get.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that might be a reason why they might actually drop it, and then that's a way for them to blame Roderick Strong for that, and they could actually possibly split up because of this, mainly because of Roderick Strong joining and then not being able to hold up his end of the bargain.
I can definitely see that. And a lot of people, I don't know if anybody has known of the background of this feud. So last month, on an episode of NXT, everyone knows Adam Cole is the current NXT North American champion. He did so by winning a ladder match on their debut of their title. Oney Lorcan and Adam Cole had a match, and Oney Lorcan gave Adam Cole all he could handle in that match. Like you said, it's like when you look at him, you see, just 2 generic guys when you see him and Danny Burch. But like you said, the toughness is there. That Cesaro like grit is there, so to speak. It's not sexy, but it gets the job done. And like I said, I wouldn't mind seeing them as tag team champions. And I think if they were to win the titles, like you said, it could spill into, some friction between the Undisputed Era with, Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole not being pleased with Roderick Strong and him not holding up his end of the bargain there. So I definitely think that this match could go a lot of ways. I like the build that they've been doing to that. I didn't know if there was going to be a good build at first, but it's progressed into a really good build for that match. It's going to be NXT, of course. Every time we have one of the major pay-per-views, when they go up against the WWE main roster pay-per-view, they're always better. So there's not going to be anything different from that. I'll go ahead and say that now. NXT is definitely going to be better. But I just like the way that they build certain things in NXT, even things that you look at, matches that you look at and you say, it's probably not going to be that great. And then it turns around, well, now I'm interested. I really want to see what happens with this now. It's a very old school style of booking, so to speak. I like that. I didn't really spend a lot of time on Lars Sullivan versus Aleister Black. I'm not really big on Lars, and I know a lot of the NXT universe or the NXT faithful, a lot of them agree or feel the same way. I don't feel like I'm to the extreme. I just don't think that he has any type of personality of a heel champion to me. And I think that's one of the reasons why I haven't really bought much into the title match, so to speak. Don't get me wrong. I think it's going to be hard hitting. You're going to see a lot of stiff shots. You're going to see a lot of kicks, a lot of vicious knees. You're going to see Lars probably tossing Aleister Black around the ring for a little while. I think it's going to be a hard-fought match, but right now, out of the 4 matches that have been confirmed, it's looking like the NXT title match is probably going to be towards the bottom of all of those matches.
I think this will be Aleister Black's toughest test. I am not a huge Lars Sullivan fan, but it's another thing, like you said just a second ago, it's not pretty, but it gets the job done. And that's what I'm thinking about with Lars Sullivan. He's got the size. He just looks like a bear, so he's got a great look for a heel champion because that's about it. That's all you really need. You gotta have heel champions have a certain look about them, and he's definitely got that gritty look. Do I see him winning this match? No. It's and like you said, there's something lacking, and it's not that he can't talk or he can't cut a promo. It's not that, but there's something I can't quite put my finger on why people haven't been able to get on board with him yet. I haven't been able to find that yet.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely understand with everybody is not being on board with him. I don't hate Lars Sullivan. Like you said, it's going to be, he's part of that when, it's not sexy, but it gets the job done type of wrestlers. But I just don't, I don't get him. I don't see the star quality. I don't see the champion in him. Even when he makes it to the main roster, he kind of puts me. I don't want to. I really don't want to curse him by saying this, but it kind of gets me in the mindset of somebody like Heidenreich. And we all know that Heidenreich didn't pan out.
Or Vladimir Kozlov, for that matter.
Okay, yeah, I'll go with that one. Heidenreich was a little harsh. I can definitely agree with the Vladimir Kozlov. And Kozlov had a decent run in the NXT, not NXT, in the ECW. But as far as longevity in the long run, I don't see Lars being somebody who would be there for a long time. I would say that he's more so like what The Miz said when he was feuding with Baron Corbin. At the end of the day, you're just another generic big man who will probably be gone in 2 years.
Ooh. Miz sure does know how to burn people. Love
He
it.
does. He does. But
okay, well, um, the one thing on NXT that I think is probably going to be confirmed next week will definitely be the Shayna Baszler and Nikki Cross for the women's title match. I think that that's going to be confirmed. Shayna had a match with Dakota Kai yesterday on NXT, and that was for the women's title. And Dakota Kai got owned. I mean, she just straight up got owned by Shayna. So then out of nowhere, here comes crazy Nikki Cross, and she's like, just snatches the title from Shayna and was like, okay, you want it? You want it? Come get it. Come get it. You want it? Come get it. I mean, it was great. I really like this. That's one person that I feel could possibly take the title off of her and like possibly make Shayna think twice about crossing Nikki. Ha ha ha. You see what I did there? But but I do think that that's definitely going to be a match that we're going to get also on TakeOver Chicago.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and I can definitely agree with that one. Shayna Baszler's the real deal. I'm gonna go ahead and say that now. I was not sold on Shayna Baszler before the feud with Ember Moon. I wasn't invested. I'm thinking, well, she's a MMA fighter, one of the 4 horsewomen. She's getting her push off of that, but week by week she's steady proving that she definitely belongs. I don't know what other word to describe her. She's just a bully. Like, and not to make fun of, this situation. We've all had our bullies in the past, but, Shayna's a bully. When you said she owned Dakota Kai, like, there's no other way to say she kicked Dakota Kai ass. Like, the way that she attacked her leg and the twisting and the torque that she put on, the leg and the ankle, it was just disgusting almost, and I love it. That's exactly the type of aggression that the women's division needs, so to speak. We get a lot of the smiling from, Ronda Rousey. Shayna Baszler ain't about that shit. She gonna come out there and she gonna take it to you, so to speak. And I love every bit of it. I love every bit of it. Do you think that after NXT that they are going to put her in some type of program with Ronda?
As I stated before, and even before the match even started, they mentioned that Jessamine Duke and Marina Shafir are signed, and they will be competing in the Mae Young Classic. So, considering that all of them will be here, yes, we're going to get a program with Shayna and Ronda, but it's not going to be a feud. It's going to be a gathering. So, we're going to see it happen. We just got to see how far along the other two are going to be.
Definitely. So I definitely see that match being added. That would move it up to 5. Usually, an NXT pay-per-view usually has about 6 matches, and I feel like there's another feud that's going on right now that I'm not touching on. And I want to say, go ahead.
Kairi Sane and Lacey Evans is another one that you are not touching on, but I know they're going to solve theirs next week on the show. So,
yeah, that one probably is going to be solved on the show. We've yet to get competition for the War Raiders. I hate that name. I hate that name. I wish they would change it. But we've had to get competition for the War Raiders. They've pretty much been running through everybody. We could see the War Raiders end up in a pay-per-view match against a formidable tag team. The question would be, of the tag teams that are left that are getting pushed, who would make a good matchup for the War Raiders right now?
Like, even though they've already been owned by the War Raiders. Good gosh, that is a tongue twister. War Raiders. You got to keep saying it a few times to straighten it out. But the only one that even looked like they could physically stand a chance with them was Heavy Machinery, and Heavy Machinery got owned. So, like, as far as look and dominance goes, I don't know who would be the team to take them out. However, right now there's been a lot of rumblings between TM61 and the rest of the tag teams as well. So TM61 had a fight a couple weeks ago versus the Street Profits where they cheated to win, and then they also had one against Heavy Machinery where they cheated to win. So I keep an eye on TM61 and see what they're going to do.
And the Street Profits are one of those tag teams. They're like a major tag team, but they're not a major tag team. It's like they're on the cusp of being like huge, in my opinion. But in NXT, they've been, kind of middle of the pack. I would love to see them actually get a push. I mean, really more so Montez Ford than Angelo Dawkins. Nothing against Angelo. But I mean, that's the selling point for the Street Profits. I don't think that unless we get someone come back that has left NXT recently, such as Sanity, so to speak, they've yet to make their debut on the main roster yet. They could come back and give the War Raiders a formidable tag team to go against. The Authors of Pain, they haven't really been doing anything with them. They've already made their debut on Raw. But of course, we know that they haven't been doing anything recently. I don't know. It's tough. These guys have been running through everybody. It's tough to try to imagine a team that's going to be formidable with them. Like you said, Heavy Machinery was pretty much the one that you would think before the War Raiders even came to WWE. Before War Machine came to WWE, everybody thought Heavy Machinery, War Machine, this is going to be the dream match. This is going to be the match. And we got it as soon as they got here, and they completely ran through them. So now it's like, well, it's kind of hard to try to pick who's going to be a formidable opponent for these guys.
It's tough. So we'll just see what they're going to do, because even shocking the system ain't even going to be able to be enough for them. So
Oh no. I say you keep the Undisputed Era away from them. If they're going to be the champions, you keep Undisputed Era away from them for as long as you can. Because right now, I mean, they're looking like Brock Lesnar 1 and 2 right now. Like, there's no possible way that I see anybody beating them in NXT right now, but the way that they're being booked.
the way that they're being booked, they should be on the main roster and fighting against the Bludgeons. To be honest.
Pretty much.
To be honest, I mean, that's basically the only solution that I see for that right there. But let's go ahead and move it right on along, sir.
Absolutely. So, moving right along, that was pretty much all we had for the show tonight. Moving on into our final thought. Lady Great One, I'll go ahead and let you start off with the final thought. What's your final thought for today?
Well, my final thought is actually that I have no thoughts. I'm just going to take it real quick like this. This show has been fun. It's always awesome. I enjoy being a part of the Marking Out Amongst Friends podcast. I truly enjoy being a part of the Debate Amongst Friends family, as well as being a part of the Game Runners. And I just wanted to take the time out this week to just talk about how much that I appreciate every one of y'all and your support and all this stuff. So thanks, guys. Thanks for allowing me to be a part of this family. I'm so happy to do it, and I love it, and I can't wait to keep going and see where we go from here. That's my phone.
Absolutely, and I definitely agree. We definitely love having you on the show. The show, it wouldn't be the same without Lady Great One. I'm going to go with my final thought. Anybody who knows me knows that my favorite wrestler of all time is none other than Bret the Hitman Hart. Today being May the 31st, however, of this week, on May 23rd, actually, May 23rd, 1999, was May 23rd earlier this week was the anniversary of the death of Owen Hart. For me personally, this is probably the toughest death that I've seen, quote unquote, on screen, even though I didn't physically get to see it. Because, back then, we couldn't really afford pay-per-views back then, but whatever. This is one of the worst deaths to not only hear about or read about, but I think this is probably the worst in wrestling history. Of course, we know he was better known, or not better known, but also known as the Blue Blazer as one of his aliases. During the entrance bit that we've seen Shawn Michaels do and him do countless times, using the cord to come down to the ring. Of course, the harness breaks partially the way through, and Owen falls to his death. I think that a lot of us for years have been clamoring for Owen to make it into the Hall of Fame. Of course, there's been a lot of heat against his then wife, who doesn't want anything to do with wrestling at the time. Still doesn't really want much to do with with wrestling. But I just want to shed some spotlight on that moment. It's just one of those things that you never expected to happen. And I just wanted to pay some respects to one of the greatest Canadian wrestlers to ever grace WWE's ring. And with that being said, we're going to close the show out on that note. If you guys are listening to us right now, if you guys aren't able to listen to us now, you want to catch us later, you can always catch us on YouTube. You can catch us on Player FM. You can catch us on the iTunes, on the Apple Store. You can catch us on Google Play in the Android market. We've got a lot of ways that we can reach our audience. Whenever you guys got time, if you're just on the way to work, on the way home from work, if you're just at home and you want to check us out, use any one of those venues. And on that note, Marking Out Amongst Friends has been another great episode. Marking out.
I can feel it. Kick back, let the dough rise. It's a feeling. It's going down like a blowjob. I need a million. Feed the fam and the whole squad. No ceilings. I'ma kill them at your throat like a bow tie. Huh? I can feel it. Kick back, let the dough rise. It's a feeling. It's going down like a blowjob. I need a million. Feed the fam and the whole squad. No ceilings. I'ma kill them at your throat like a bow tie. I just wanna wake up every morning getting paid. I just need a couple $1,000 every day. I just need an answer back for everything I prayed for. I just need a profit off of everything I paid for. I just wanna wake up every morning getting paid. I just need a couple $1,000 every day. I just need an answer back for everything I prayed for. I just need a profit off of everything I paid for. I can feel it. Kick back, let the dough rise. It's a feeling. It's going down like a blowjob. I need a million. Feed the fam and the whole squad. No feelings. I'ma kill them at your throat like a bow tie. Huh? I can feel it. Kick back, let the dough rise. It's appealing. It's going down like a blowjob. I need a million. Feed the fam and the whole squad. No feelings. I'ma kill them at your throat like a bow tie. Wanna wake up every morning getting paid. I just need a couple $1,000 every day. I just need an answer back for everything I prayed for. I just need a profit off of everything I paid for. I just wanna wake up every morning getting paid. I just need a couple $1,000 every day. I just need an answer back for everything I prayed for. I just need a profit off of everything I paid for. I just wanna wake up every morning getting paid. I just need a couple $1,000 every day. I just need an answer back for everything I prayed for. I just need a profit off of everything I paid for. When you're too young to kill, but you're too old to not. When the shoe on the air, when the shoe on the spot. When you're too young to kill, but you're too old to not. When the shoe on the air, when the shoe on the spot. Wake up every morning getting paid. I just need a couple $1,000 every day. I just need an answer back for everything I pray for. I just need a profit off of everything I paid for. I just wanna wake up every morning getting paid. I just need a couple $1,000 every day. I just need an answer back for everything I prayed for. I just need a profit off of everything I paid for. I just wanna wake up every morning getting paid. I just need a couple $1,000 every day. I just need an answer back for everything I prayed for. I just need a profit off of everything I paid for. Yeah, when you're too young to kill, but you're too old to not. When you're too on the air, and the shoe on the spot. When you're too young to kill, but you're too old to not. When the shoe on the air, and the shoe on the spot. When you're too young to kill, but you're too old to not. When you're too on the air, and the shoe on the spot. When you're too young to kill, but you're too old to not. When the shoe on the air.